What's up guys, I'm Camden. I'm a senior in high school. I really hope this video helps you whether you have epilepsy or maybe you know someone who has it or maybe you just want to know my story. So this is actually my first video, so let's get into it. So before I even had any seizures, I guess people would consider me a normal average kid. I like to ride bikes, just hang out with my friends, you know, normal 14-year average stuff. I was even on a basketball team and even in Boy Scouts at the time. But all of that changed for me when I had my first seizure. But when I had my first seizure, it was really fucking hard for me. So just picture you're living a normal 14-year average life and you just wake up in the hospital and you get told by your parents you had a seizure. And if I'm being honest with you, I didn't even know what a seizure was when I was 14 and I got told that. So it really changed my whole perspective on things. So when I had that seizure, I actually ended up getting a concussion from it. I was playing basketball at the time. They rushed me to the hospital and did a whole bunch of tests on me. It all came back normal, and with the doctors not knowing what caused it, they sent me back home with no medication. I ended up having another seizure. So this time I went to the neurologist and they actually gave me seizure medication for it. With me on seizure medication, I ended up still getting seizures consistently, and it really took a toll on me mentally and physically, because during that year I was still playing basketball on my team and I actually had a few on the court and I just brushed it off my shoulder. But after I had one in a game, I didn't think too much of it, but my basketball league reached out to me saying I need a doctor's note to play in another game. And you know, I'm dealing with seizures that I'm not used to, and I ended up quitting basketball. And I just want to say, if anyone else is going through something similar and you're feeling like quitting, just don't quit, but it's up to you guys. So I ended up dropping that medication because obviously it wasn't working for me, and I went on to a new one. And with that new medication my doctor put me on, it actually made things a lot fucking worse for me. It gave me a side effect and ultimately gave me more seizures. So the biggest side effect it gave me was dizziness, and at the time obviously I'm still fucking going to school, so it was hard for me to even walk to my classes. It wore off in the afternoon. I only had dizziness in the morning, but it started affecting my grades. It was the first time, but thankfully I got off that medication 5 to 6 months and got onto a new one. But with my new medication, it ended up giving me another side effect. So this side effect, it was memory loss, not being as worse as dizziness, I would say, but it's definitely worse for school. It impacted me a lot where I had to study a lot more. I still ended up failing a lot of my tests, and I had to stay after school to retake them and just get help from my teachers. And even with that, I would still, I remember I think I almost failed one of my classes. And this was the first time I actually had to get my parents' help to the point where they needed to contact the school and get some 504 help. So I was on that medication for about 10 months, and I was on that medication for longer than my old one because the doctors kept telling me it was a different medication and just give it longer to kick in. Maybe that side effect will wear off. And ultimately it didn't wear off and I still had it. So again, I got onto a new medication, which actually I'm still on till this day, which is good news. And at that time when I was first placed on the medication I'm on right now, my epilepsy doctor sat me down and he said, hey, I think it's time to take the next step in to your epilepsy process. So he told me to do a 10-day EEG monitoring stay, and I did that 2 months ago. And what that basically is, you guys can look it up yourselves, but you just stay in a hospital bed and you get a whole bunch of wires glued up to your head, and they track your brain waves, and they take you off all of your seizure meds, and if you have a seizure they can tell what part of the brain it's coming from, so it's really helpful. So again, with my stay that I did 2 months ago, I ended up getting a seizure 5 days in, and this was huge for me at the time because they figured out they were coming from my front left part of the brain, and this knowledge is currently leading me to the next step of my journey And now the next step is to do another 10-day stay where they're going to be putting wires, this time inside of my brain, on the left part of my brain. And basically this time when I do the 10-day stay, it'll show more in detail what will happen. So after that 10-day stay, hopefully it will show good results and I will be able to do a brain surgery. And I know it may sound like a lot, but for me, I just like to take things day by day, and I just look at it as something that is just way ahead of me, and I'm just grateful to get. Also, I just want to remind people who have epilepsy, there's so many people in the world who have it. People are born with it. People like me just randomly get it, and people just get it from trauma to the brain. So don't feel like a burden to friends, family for having this condition. It's what makes you, you. No matter how it's managed with the right support and strategies, you can overcome the limitations that you might have and achieve your goals that you have. So that's my journey so far. I'll keep you guys posted on what's going on. And for content, since this is my first video, I'm thinking about doing more inspiring videos and maybe crazy and adventure type shit to just inspire and show you guys that you can do anything, whoever you are. And also just comment down videos you guys want to see, and thank you.
Artlist.io.
Yeah, I gotta keep it trendy on my soul. I'm the most selfish person that I know.